Ladies and gentlemen, the Angry Soccer Guy, Coach Kyle, is back, and I'm going to be discussing with you tonight, is the college recruiting masterclass. And I've had a lot of people ask me, I don't know how to get to college, I don't know what to do, how does it work, do I need to spend a lot of money? And I'm going to answer that here. And the long story short is, you can do it yourself. And I'm going to teach you how to be able to do it yourself, so you don't need to pay any other program or system to help you to navigate it. You can learn how to do it yourself. The only thing is you actually have to put in the work to do it. So I'm going to teach you all that more tonight through the college recruiting masterclass, okay? So you got to understand, I've been through this entire system. I was once in your shoes if you're a player looking to go play college soccer. I've been there. I fell for the traps. My parents spent $1,000 back-to-back on 2 West Virginia University camps. I've been there, $500 a pops. 3 nights, 4 days, whatever it was, 2 times in a row, back to back, bam. And then I shortly got the email after saying, hey, you're no longer on our list for potential recruits. So long story short, I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did, and I'm going to show you how not to with this process. It's a 28 action framework. Okay. And I'll also add, I thought you needed to spend thousands of dollars at one point to go to college, which was through all the camps. And then I also thought that every single Division I school was chasing me. Which is the urban myth, and that's not true unless you're, top talent and or generational talent. Okay, so I have put this together so you don't have to go through the pain that I did not knowing how to get where you want to go. And I think it's critically important because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did or my family did. So you're going to see that here. Okay, now quickly about myself, if you're new, or if you need a refresher, who am I? The Angry Soccer Guy. So very quickly, I played NCAA Division II college, and I'll explain why later as we get into it. Okay, I played in the Futsal World Cup under AMF in 2019 for the United States men's national team, and I played semi-professionally playing soccer in France, playing Division IV, which was right outside Saint Etienne. So I have a lot of experience. I didn't play at the highest level, but I do know what it takes to play at the next level, which is what I'm going to be showcasing today with college in particular. Now, here's a quick list of names that I have worked with. So professional players that I've worked with, like Louis Snani, Dom Dwyer, Benji Michel, Nico Gavaccini, Jake Mulraney. I mean, there's a list of players. I've also worked with Cauã Bazil, who is the generational talent coming out of Brazil. Okay, so I have a good list of players that I've worked with that have all played at the next level. Okay, so we're going to break down the college recruiting masterclass. It breaks into 4 phases, what I call 4 phases to winning at the college recruiting process, broken down by grade year. Okay, so when I take you through this framework, we're going to be looking at the freshman year, so 9th grade, sophomore year, 10th grade, junior year, 11th grade, and then senior year, your 12th grade, okay? And then there are take action resources, which are bonuses, which I'll explain towards the end, okay? But just, this is our main framework here, okay? So the 4 phases. Now, we're going to be looking at freshman year, and there are 10 actions that you need to do in your freshman year. And if you haven't started by your freshman year, you are late. And I was late. I didn't start the college recruiting process truly until my senior year. So imagine starting 3 years late. I didn't know. My parents didn't know. I don't want you and your child, whoever's watching this, to make the same mistakes. So we're going to correct that action now, and you need to understand that the college recruiting process starts your freshman year. There are 10 actions within this framework for your freshman year that need to be done. Okay, so the first one, action 1, is setting expectations and understand why you want to be a college student athlete. Like, that's critically important. Like, I don't think a lot of parents and players or student athletes understand, like, what you're getting into when you go into college athletics. Like, I watched a video the other day, and the guy was basically saying, oh, you want to play college sports, huh? He started laughing. He's like, they own you. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're training at 6. You're doing breakfast and then school, and then you're back and doing film, and then you're going to the gym, and then you're going to class again. Like, it's just basically what he said is true. Like, you're doing the entire day. The school owns you, and if you don't like it, they're just going to get rid of you. So you have to, it's a job. At that point, it's literally a job. It's your life. They control your life because they can do everything they want. And one example was when I was in college, no joke, my college coach took our phones away for 1 week. We had to turn in our phone for one week because he was that upset. And this was years ago. This was 2011 to 2015. But the point is, you need to understand the expectation and understand why you want to be a college student athlete and really break that down as a player, okay? Or a student athlete. Action 2, understanding the time and effort required to be successful in the process. I didn't understand that. I thought that I would have every single Division I school calling me, begging me to come there. That's not how this works, contrary to popular belief. Now, what I will add is I did have the smaller schools, like I had small NAIAs, Division IIIs, chasing me, so to speak. But the dream school was not chasing me. And this is going to be a common theme for the overriding majority of players or student athletes. You're not going to be chased from the dream schools. Maybe the small schools, but not the dream schools. Okay? Action 3, you need to create a professional email address and email signature. Like, you don't want to be having an email address that says Little Thug 24. No, it needs to be professional. I recommend something like your first and last name and then your graduation year. So for example, Kyle.Wilson2026@gmail.com, right? Simple, clean, professional. You need to have that. And I highly recommend you have an email signature because then they can see like a picture. You can put other details in there that are important. Okay, but just understand that. Action 4, research on schools you have potential interest in. And FYI, this will change over time. So you need to start, you need to have a list of about 40 schools, minimum 40 schools. That way you can have structure and then you can start doing research. What are the academic programs that they have that might interest you? What about the soccer team? Where is it located? What is the size of the university? What are the classroom sizes? How does the coach play? How long has the coach been there? And this is actually important, it's funny, how tall are the players on the team? Where are the players on the team from? That's key because if they're recruiting mostly internationals, do you think you have a realistic shot of going there? And maybe you do, but how about earning a scholarship? How many scholarships does that school have? Because you may or may not know this. For example, at a college, so using the NCAA platform, they're going to give up to 9.8 scholarships from the NCAA. That's what they allow for soccer. But they might only have 3 scholarships from the school. Well, that's different. So there's a lot of things that go into this versus what you actually know. Okay? Action 5 in this framework. Question to ask yourself about potential universities. There are 22 questions that I have that you need to go through. You need to be able to answer every single one. Okay, action 6, creating your first list. Like I said, 20 to 40 schools. I would go higher because what's going to happen is this is going to be like a revolving door, especially as you go through freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Like, for example, when I started my freshman year, if you would have asked me, I probably would have told you I wanted to go to like a big D1 with 40 to 60,000 students. Like that would have been my thing. When I got to my senior year, I'm like, I don't think I want to go that big. I want to actually have relationships with my teachers or my professors. I want to make sure that I'm in an environment that I can thrive in because I think I realized for myself, if I went to a big school, I probably would have crashed out. Okay, so just something to think about. And then this is where you can break it down. Based on how you are, you can have 5 to 10 ambitious schools, 5 to 10 ideal schools, 5 to 10 secure schools. This can get you up to 30 schools right here, and then you can have wild card schools. Okay, things to increase your list with. 7, make sure you meet with your high school counselor and inform them that you're looking to be a collegiate student athlete. Because they might have, they could have been an athlete themselves, but they might be able to open up some doors for you that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And they can understand what you're trying to do in the future. That's their job. Action 8, you need to have game film and or highlight film. Okay, so first round, this basically means that you need to have game film. It's obviously going to be changing over time because you're a freshman. You're going to go to sophomore, junior, senior. But you need to have game film. I recommend you have both game film and highlight. And again, you'll be updating this at least every year, if not every 6 months or faster. 9, initiating contact with prospective schools, how to stand out. Okay, and I'm going to give you a nugget completely for free. So there is a very good friend of mine coaches at the NAIA level. He gets 50 emails a day. You've probably never heard of his school. And I'm not going to put him out there for that. But what I'm trying to highlight is a guy that with a school or at a school that you've probably never even heard of is receiving, on average, 50 emails a day from prospective student athletes. Well, okay, I live in Orlando. UCF is 45 minutes from my house. How many emails do you think they're getting a day? 200? 300? The number could be infinite. So you need to figure out, how do we stand out? Well, I can tell you right now, it's not email. But here's something that you probably never thought of. You know how you used to write letters, or people used to write letters? What you could do is type an entire letter, sign it, send it through snail mail. Nobody's doing that. And my same buddy basically said anybody that does it for him will almost be guaranteed a roster spot. Not a scholarship, but a roster spot because they're showing the interest and want to go to his school. So use that as a reference. And then I'll even give you this nugget too, which is crazy. Using my same friend, just as a very quick example, in his 9 years of being a college coach, he's received 2 phone calls. But he'll get 40 emails a day, but nobody's willing to make the phone call. So even if you don't want to send a letter, make a phone call. Okay? And then the follow-up. So there's a whole process that I have when you write the letter, you then follow up. Now, there are rules that you have to understand. More than likely, as a freshman, if you're contacting Division I and Division II colleges or coaches, they're not going to be able to actually respond to you in a significant way. They might send you something back, as a letter. They might quickly send you an email, but they have rules that they have to follow. However, D3 and NAIA, you can be in contact nonstop, no problem. So what I tell people to do is practice on the small schools, the ones that you're not really interested in, but you can practice those phone calls early. You can practice those emails. You can practice those snail mails on schools that you're less interested in. Because wouldn't you rather mess up there and get that practice in there versus doing it to the dream school? Right? So you don't want to ruin your own chances by making too many mistakes. Obviously, college coaches know that you're a kid, you're going to make mistakes, but it's important to know. So now we're going to look at the sophomore year framework. Okay, first one, we got action 11. You need to start the year off right, and this is, looking at my freshman year, I did not do well my freshman year. I think I got a 2.5 or a 2.6, and then I had to carry it back up. I think my sophomore year I got a 3.2 or a 3.3, so I did better. But you need to make sure that you do right. You don't want to be messing yourself up. Action 12, you want to prepare for standardized testing. So this is like your pre-SAT or ACT, practice those tests. I didn't like doing it, and I don't even remember what my score was, but it wasn't top. I can tell you that much. And I didn't practice. I thought I could just show up, take the test, and do what I need to do. Ultimately, it worked for me. I don't recommend that, but just understand. Okay, action 13, reevaluation. This is now a year later. Do you really want to do this? Because college sports is not easy, contrary to popular belief. It's a freaking grind every single day, especially when the season's only 3 months, realistically. Action 14, sending game schedules. I have an entire template to do your game schedule. That way you can send it to prospective coaches and staff. And that way you can send them out your tournament list, your game list, all that. What you need to do is create a game schedule easily readable for college coaches. You need to contact college coaches to give your current game schedule. And then you want to follow up a few days later by phone call and using the script. I have all this for you already done. Okay, action 15. Update your list. Again, this is going to be a revolving door where you're going to be scratching schools off based on preference. Maybe you realize that they're not a good fit for you, or they've contacted you, said you're not a good fit for them. Probably not going to happen too much sophomore year, but you're going to have a revolving door of lists, or at least you should. Okay, exposure. Now, this is where everybody gets so excited. And this is where it actually starts mattering, by the way, okay? So we need to make sure that you're getting exposure. Well, what does this actually mean? This means, my definition of it, exposure is you're going to the events where you will be seen. This could be league games, this could be tournaments, this could be showcases, whatever. But these are events, okay? So getting to the right event is key. Now, a lot of people think that they have to play MLS next, or they have to play ECNL to get scouted. Now, do those platforms, those leagues, provide a potentially greater platform? Sure, when you go to their showcases, they're going to have hundreds of college coaches. Yes. Okay, so that could increase exposure. However, this is very key, and I've mentioned this once or twice, but I'm going to make sure I'm re-emphasizing it here. There is a complete and utter difference between the word exposure, going to said event where these people are at, versus being exposed. So being exposed means that you go to an event, but then they're actually watching you. Well, this entire framework that we're going through so far is to how to grab attention from a college coach. Because, I want you to critically think about this. If you're a college coach and you go and you know you need to do scouting and recruiting, don't you think that you're going to have a plan? You're not just going to go to an event praying to God that it works and you're going to find somebody. You're already going to be in talk. You're already going to be in contact with some of these players or student athletes. And then you're going to be going to events looking at those specific people and or a specific position. Okay, so you're going to have a plan. So as a prospective student athlete, you need to have a plan, because if they have a plan, shouldn't you have a plan? How are you going to get scouted? Are you going to be praying to the almighty hoping that it's going to work, yeah, good luck, because the chance of that happening is not good, at least not in your favor. Okay? So you need to contact the college coaches you wish to watch you before your events, which is part of the follow-up process. So if you contact them ahead of time, not just one time, by the way, I recommend at least twice a month, minimum, right? So maybe it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, but contact is key. And understand, like I mentioned before, especially if you're targeting like Division I and Division II, they're not able to respond to you. That does not mean, however, they won't watch you. And I think this is where people get confused, is because they'll get, like, some students will be like, oh, well, I'm not getting the responses back. That's not even important. At this age, they can't respond to you fully. So don't expect them to respond to you. Even in junior, they might not respond to you because they want to evaluate you and see how you behave, act, and manage yourself without that contact. It's a game that they'll play. Okay, so you need to understand these details. Now let's look at junior year. We're now at action 17. This is where the floodgates open and Division I and Division II can start contacting you. Okay, now 17, you need to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center and the NAIA as well. Now they might change the name of this. It used to be the Clearinghouse, whatever they're going to call it in the newest day and age. But right now, if I remember correctly, it's called the NCAA Eligibility Center. Okay, you need to register there and make sure that you get cleared to participate at college athletics. 18, proactive communication. So if somebody sends you something because the doors have now opened, the floodgates are open, I highly recommend you respond within 24 hours because that shows that you're proactive and you're paying attention. You're receiving those emails, you're hitting back. If they send you a letter in the mail, hit them back with an email. Maybe drop a phone call, whatever you need to do. But you need to be proactive with your communication, okay? So that's very important. Action 19, and this is also very important, unofficial visits. Now this means that an unofficial visit means that you can go to a school. You can let them know that you're coming, by the way. You can say, I'd like to come visit you. They'll let you come in. I did this at UNC Charlotte. I had a cousin that went there. She played tennis, and they helped set up an unofficial visit. I got to meet the coach, got to sit in the locker room, or it was a locker room, but it was like their little staff area, whatever it's called, or like lounge, probably a better word for it. And I got to sit there and speak with the coaches. We had some dialogue back and forth. They said they would come follow me, and so on and so forth. You can visit unofficially as many schools as you want, okay? This gives you a chance to kind of see it from your own perspective and just going to visit with mom and dad or whoever you go with. Now, action 20, SAT and ACT. You should be taking, in your junior year, the SAT or the ACT. Abso-freaking-lutely. Now, more than likely, you're probably not going to do a good job the first time. Cool. I definitely didn't. I don't remember what my score was, but it was not great. So you can always retake the test if you don't do well. I took the SAT twice. And actually, I probably was supposed to take it, I think I was supposed to take it a third time. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was supposed to take it a time prior, and I skipped it because I didn't feel good. I probably lied to my mom and told her, oh, I don't want to take the test. But I was like, oh, I don't feel good. And I remember she got pissed at me for that. Just take the damn thing. Don't do that. If you don't do well, cool. Eat it. Like, eat that. Be like, yeah, I need to do better, and freaking move on what you're doing. Okay, next one, action 21, gauging interest. This is when you're going to start receiving contact from college coaches, and they're going to say, and this is really where you need to start understanding, are they really interested in me, or do they just want me to come to their camp? Now, you've probably been to an event if you're in high school, you go to a college showcase or a tournament, and then you get an email shortly after, and it says, hey, we watched you play at XYZ event. We'd love to invite you to our college ID session. It costs $450. This way we can evaluate you further. When you're getting an email like that, you are on a generic email list from them. They're sending it to you because they want you to come to their camp. It's business. So college coaches can make a hell of a lot of money from camps, ID camps, whatever the word they use to describe them these days. So if you're getting those emails, they're not genuinely interested in you, or at least they're probably not. The chance is much lower. Whereas if they'll send you an email and say, like I got this email multiple times from different schools, we would like to discuss your placement or you joining our college. Something along those lines, right? We're very interested in recruiting you. Like if you get an email like that, then you know that they're serious about you. We are genuinely interested in you. You're going to get something with that verbiage. However they're writing it these days is different. But you're going to get an email that says, or a phone call, or whatever that says, we are genuinely interested in you. We'd like to discuss you for our program, right? It's very direct. It's very clear. They want you. You'll know that. Okay? So You might also have some schools that tell you, hey, we are no longer interested. Just move on. It sucks. Maybe your dream school says, hey, we're not interested in you. And I'll give you a personal example. When I was in high school, my dream school was James Madison University. I wanted to go to James Madison. I don't really know why. I think because all my buddies wanted to go there, but I just wanted to go there. And I could have gone there, but I didn't get a great scholarship. And then the coach also told me, he's like, look, you can come here, but you're probably not playing the first year. You're probably not playing the second year. And I'm like, well, I want to play. So I had to eat that and be like, well, what am I going to do? Do I go to James Madison and not play? Or do I go somewhere else? And that's when I made the decision to cut it off and move on with my day. And sometimes it sucks because that was my dream school. And I'm like, do I do this or do I not? And I had to bite the bullet and move on. So continuing. Make sure you're updating your list. This is now the third time we've seen this now. You're going to have to keep refreshing your list. And when you get to this point, you should be about 20 schools and less. And that way you're getting closer to the desired outcome, whatever school we're going to get to. But 20 schools or less at this point. And I'll add to this that in Action 22, what you'll see is a lot of times, and this is what I talked about previously, is even schools that you maybe never even thought of or didn't consider will start reaching out to you. In fact, that's how I went to the school that I went to. I was playing in the DA. We actually played against IMG Academy. We drove down from Northern Virginia. And the school that I went to is called St. Leo University. They watched me play versus IMG Academy, or IMG Development Academy. So IMG Academy's Development Academy team. That probably makes more sense. And they watched me play. They sent me an email. They said, hey, we saw you play versus IMG. We are very, I don't remember exactly what it was, but we are very interested in you. We would like to discuss options of you joining the program. Cool. So then I knew that they were interested in me. And then if you have interest in them, do your research, then you can add them to your list. Okay, Action 23, you need to send over transcripts. This is also part of the Eligibility Center. Okay, but schools will need you to send their transcripts. So you'll need official transcripts to show your standing. Do you qualify for the school? Do you qualify for the Eligibility Center or whatever they call it these days? Okay, senior year. We're in our last hurrah here. There's still a couple actions. You're not done. And I did this a little bit. Don't fall for the trap of senioritis where you get comfortable. You're like, cool, I'm done. It's my senior year. I don't need to work anymore. Your soccer or your sport performance drops. You start having more fun. You're less focused because you can still lose offers that way. So don't do that. In fact, I lost an offer that way because I stopped being proactive. My grades suffer a little bit. Then I had to bounce it back. And I ended up finishing very strong. I think I finished in my senior year like a 3.5. But point is, don't do what I did. So learn the lesson. Okay, now college applications is going to be your step one, or Action 24 in senior year, step one in senior year. This is where you will start doing your college applications. You're going to have probably at this point about 10 schools left, maybe less, depending on how well you're doing, maybe more, but generally around 10. So if you have not committed verbally to a school, so a verbal commitment means a coach has said, hey, again, paraphrasing for you, we would like you on our team. Here's what we're offering you. So it could be X amount of money. It could be anything, maybe not. And you verbally say, yes, I'd like to commit to XYZ school. Boom. You have now verbally committed. That means you're not locked in because you haven't signed all the documentation yet, but you can still leave a verbal commitment. It's not great to do that, but you can change your mind. It's frowned upon, but you can. Okay. But if you haven't done that, then you're going to be filling out applications for multiple schools because you don't know where you're going yet. And what you don't want to have happen is you wait too late and you miss those application deadlines and then you're kind of screwed. Sometimes the coach can work that out with you, but it can't always be the case. So just be aware of that. Action 25, FAFSA, free application for student federal aid. I think everybody has to fill this out anyways, especially if you're an American citizen. So you might get additional financial aid from grants and scholarships, or they're going to send you a loan. It's your choice what you want to do, but you have to fill it out. 26. This may impact you. It did with me, dealing with multiple offers. Now, again, I didn't have like all the top Division I schools, but I had D3s, D2s, NAIA sending me offers. And then you have to kind of figure out, what do you want to accept? Why? How? When? Where? So I had another Division II in South Carolina that was almost a full ride, maybe like 80%, 90% just on athletics, and then probably gave me the rest, 10, 15% in academics. So I did not go to that school, but you have to make that decision and you have to think about what is the best fit for you, just like these schools are figuring out if you're a best fit for them. So this can very well happen, and it happened to me, like I just highlighted, and I just gave you one quick example, you really need to evaluate all facets. So how much money are they giving you? What's the location? Will you be happy with it? Who is the coach? Is he a good fit for you? How about the team? Again, like, you're going to probably laugh at when I say this, but like at the time when I wanted to go to James Madison, I actually looked at the roster and almost every single player on the team was over 6 foot. Well, I'm not over 6 foot. I'm 5'9", maybe 5'10", right? Apparently I go back and forth, but you need to understand. So like when I did that research, that really made me realize, hey, coach favors athletes more than football players. So when I say football, soccer players. And that's a decision that you have to make. What decision are you going to make? Well, you need to evaluate. And if you decide beforehand, you could screw yourself. And it becomes hard to transfer. Like, it's not an easy thing to do, especially if you don't play, because that can make you drop. But you just need to be aware of that, okay? So like an example could be one school that you've never even heard of that sent you an offer could say, hey, we saw you XYZ tournament. Really think you'd be a good fit for our school and our team. We're going to offer you 90%. You only have to pay 10%. But your dream school offers nothing, right? If they offer you nothing, which one are you going to take? The one that offers you basically free or the one that you got to pay $50K a year, right? You got to weigh that decision. Now what I know, based on what I went through, if I was in your shoes now or if I was doing this over again, I would go to the school every day of the week that gives more money. And that's simply because I don't want to have debt when I graduate from college. Okay, so just be aware of that because you can't get rid of it. It's stuck with you for life. Action 27. So you've decided to commit. You now have to turn down offers if you received them. Okay, so my recommendation for you, best practice, is to do this over the phone. It might be through Zoom now or whatever you need to do. But you would let the coach know, hey, listen, I really appreciate your offer. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for everything, but I have decided to move in a different direction. They may ask you where you're going. Just be open and honest. Hey, I decided to go to X school because of X, Y, and Z. I think it's better to be honest. They might not appreciate it, but most of the time they will. And you might say, well, to be honest, coach, they offered me, 60% scholarship. You offered me 30. I got to think what's in the best interest of me financially. It's okay. It's better to tell the truth than not, my opinion. Okay. And then last action 28, is you accept the offer, right? So, and this could be backwards. You could do 27 or 28, either way. But you just need to know that you're going to have to reject and accept offers. One way or the other, you're going to have to do either one. So don't make this mistake, because I did this where you just don't even answer the other person. So you don't answer the college coach. So let's say, example was I received an offer. I went to a different school, St. Leo University, and I didn't respond to one of the other schools. I just ignored them. Well, they kept following up with me, and then eventually they wrote like an email saying, well, I guess you're no longer interested. You could have just let us know. So don't waste somebody else's time. And where I'm going with this really is treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you want to have good relationships, because the thing that you have to remember is, just like in youth soccer, how all the coaches talk to each other, college coaches talk to each other. It's a big circle. Or I should say it's a small circle, but a big circle. So like, parents think, especially in youth soccer, that we coaches don't talk to each other. That's not the case. We do all the time. So understand that this is happening and that if you decide to treat somebody poorly, that could impact you in the future, especially if you need to transfer, you need their help or whatever later. So just don't make those mistakes. Okay, now here's the great news. I gave you all 28 actions in this framework. Okay? If you need more help, I have the entire process in video format on my YouTube channel. Every single step that I just talked about in much greater detail, the entire framework's for free. So there are literally no more excuses from you or your friends, your family to say, I don't know how to get to college. Okay, well, you have the entire framework for free on my YouTube channel. Go get it, start going through it, and understand your steps. You need to understand this. You don't need anybody else. You don't. People will sell you service and do all this stuff. You don't need them. You can do it yourself for free. Okay. Now, if you don't want to do it for yourself and you want somebody to help you, okay, cool. But understand that I'm showing you now how to do it for free, and I just gave you the framework. Now you can actually go do it yourself for free through the YouTube channel. Okay. So you don't have to pay somebody. And you can if you want, but you don't have to. So you can watch the entire thing on my YouTube channel and you can go through every single step. So just know that if you need more help, take it. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you've gotten tremendous value. If you have, or you know somebody that needs help with this, please share this video with somebody. I don't want to hear any more excuses of people saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get to college. This video will show you the whole thing, and then you can go through my YouTube channel of the actual content pieces and not just the frameworks. Okay? So without further ado, guys, thank you so much. I will see you in a future video.